Good morning. It is Friday, March 22nd, my second universe, 30th Writers Update. I'll do a little writing tip on keeping things simple, stupid. Don't overthink things for a good story. Uh, what happened with the gaming sessions and the virtual tabletop gaming sessions this last weekend, and a little story time about a curious boy arriving on an alien world. So it's harsh to say keep it simple, stupid, but it's valuable to attack myself a bit, to have a harsh criticism ready, pointed at my attempts to over-explain or outline the complexities that don't matter for the story at hand. I was struck watching my son with he's sitting on the couch on his tablet, and what he's choosing to watch, and he's been pretty consistent when he first was allowed to watch shows of his choosing. And Red versus Blue, this players of Halo would just use the models and add voices, and it was super simple, super, like, virtually no production value, and they would just kind of free flowing script have these interactions, these distinct characters, and we'll just go and fight, and it was really straightforward and simple, and it became quite popular. My son loves it. And then for Minecraft, same kind of a thing. People love to watch other people play video games. And then a step further is for those people playing video games to create stories, to have characters running around on adventures. So not playing the game in a traditional fashion. They may be scripted. They're running into people. They're having engagements. It's almost like a role-playing session, like a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing session in a way, that somebody is watching. And those are also quite popular for people to observe. I think it's a Critical Role is the show, something like that. That's quite popular. That's helped spawn a resurgence of interest in role-playing and Dungeons and Dragons. So my son watching Halo characters, Red versus Blue, and then Minecraft, and now Fortnite. He's been watching. That's what I saw him watching on the couch. Because Fortnite has so many different models, so many different skins to choose from, and all those social dances, and it's a language, and all those little emotes, I guess they're called, bows and salutes, and I'm thinking of them like dialogue tags or action tags when writing. It's a part of the language. It's nonverbal, clear, understood communication, and it's effective. It's so simple. Like I should be doing that as well. I should be telling stories in this way. Haven't. I don't think I will, but it's a valid form of storytelling, and I could learn from it. And I should pay attention to how immersive it is, and how effective it is at hooking interest, and go in that direction. I have a tendency to overcomplicate when writing my stories. I need to go in direction of keeping it simple, stupid. Okay. So this last weekend, Sunday and Monday, it just so happened, both had the party is split. Same players playing different characters, and both parties ran into my super special zombies. In my setting, these are the zombies that inspired the creation of the more traditional zombie. These are so basically when in my setting, when magic items, they need to be connected to a place of power, some kind of physical place that's being managed, and there's a link, a thread, a magical thread connecting to any effective magic item. And if that gets cut or severed, then the magic item will become eventually a cursed item as the power runs out. And for a time before it becomes inert, it's hungry for mystic energy. And if it doesn't have that, if it doesn't have something else it can cling on to, like another magic item that's still being powered, then they'll cancel each other out. Then it'll start feeding off of souls. Now these need to be, it can't just be an animal, it's got to be a person. It's got to be, or at least an intelligent animal. It's got to be something with a soul, that kind of complexity of existence. And it'll feed off of that, and it will disrupt the soul. It'll turn that person into kind of a sociopath, because they're a broken person. They're losing their meaning, their motivations being twisted. Eventually they'll die, and then they'll become a cursed zombie. And they are fast in the movies, like the fast zombies, not the slow kind of zombies. They're fast, and when you get close to them, they will tire you out. They will start to exhaust you if you take too long. And eventually you will be slower, and you just won't be as effective, and you won't be able to run away, and you won't be able to fight back as well. And then you'll become like them. They will pass their curse on to you. So they're fast, and they spread. Their only real weakness compared to regular zombies, in most ways they're stronger, but they're weaker in that if they leave the general area of where the cursed item is, or cursed items are, then they will lose what animates them. That hunger is localized to the items. But that was fun to challenge the players in both games, and play with their expectations a little bit, and try to help fill out. They've already pretty familiar with my setting, so I believe it made sense to them. They've grown used to magic items being connected to physical places, and so they have to maintain their own places of power that they control. They control 3, which is quite a lot. That means they have to defend it, and that's part of why the party split. One going out to do the more typical adventure, and the other one working on maintaining their holdings. We've been going for like a year and a half now, so it's kind of moving on to empire building a bit. So good fun, and then preparing for the next session in a little over a week, which we'll see. One party failed to get past the zombies, and the other party succeeded. So we'll pick up where we left off there. Story time. The Feathered Monk, the Curious Boy. So, generation spaceship. This is a spaceship that takes more than one generation to travel from one place to another. Now, this generation ship ship of destiny, coming from Earth on a 1,000-year journey, many generations. It has arrived, and there's a boy who's young, and he's looking out a window as the shuttles descend, a virtual window. But it's seeing what's really there, and it is an icy world, colder, much colder than Earth, and more mountainous, more volcanic activity. So there's a bit of a balance there, but overall it's a colder world, more mountainous. They land, they spread out, and the colonists discover a vast cave network in many of the mountains, hollowed unnaturally. People have done this, and they've done it with simple tools, no sign of machinery, and the time it must have taken. By their estimations, this boy has overheard maybe thousands upon thousands of years. Whoever did this chipped away to make these deep tunnels, miles deep. So they take advantage of these tunnels. They live in them. And the boy, like all the children do, they wander and they explore and they tell stories of the dangers within the depths of this alien world cave network. It's not long before a wandering child discovers that on the walls of these caves, deep inside, are symbols, patterns, a variety of symbols, so many different kinds, covering from floor to ceiling for thousands of feet, for miles. In these cave networks are these patterns chiseled in. And the curious boy, he travels deep and he follows, and he is the one who discovers the alien. Well, the humans are the aliens, so the native. And the native is chipping away with a piece of some sharp, clear material, chipping. It's a feathered humanoid being. Long limbs and wings, but hunched over and chipping. The native turns and looks at the curious boy, and the curious boy doesn't run away, for the creature does not appear hostile, and it turns back and chips away. And the boy reports, and the adults come, and they observe carefully. They attempt to communicate, and they fail. Years pass, and rarely, occasionally, but rarely, do they see the creature leaving that spot. And they wonder, perhaps this creature is incredibly old and has, by hand, chiseled miles of these walls. It couldn't be that creature alone. So they search other caves, and eventually there are other creatures, one per cave network, chiseling away. But this first one, the one where the boy discovered, the curious boy, is when the boy is allowed to hang out with the creature, with the native. And he copies the creature. He gets a piece of metal and he starts chiseling on another part of the wall ahead of the creature. Chisel, chip, 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 chip. And the boy, he chisels the ship that was in space, or that is in space, the colony ship. And then he chips the shuttle and his memory of seeing the world below. He chips it in. It takes him all day to get his little picture, that image of arrival and landing. And he stops and he looks over at the creature, because the creature has stopped and is looking at him. And the creature stands and walks over, and the boy scoots back, and the creature crouches down, looks at the boy, and hands the clear device. The creature shares his tool with the boy, and the curious boy smiles and accepts the gift.